Well, it says you're live. Good morning, neighbors. I'm just on the other side of the fence if you're looking for something. So, what are we doing this morning? I don't know. I just don't know. In the background, I'm losing a connection here, so this is probably going to be weird. Let's try it anyway. Um, so, let's talk a little bit about nuclear follies, real quick. What do we got going on in nuclear? North Korea is still playing nuclear games, never stop. Trump's an idiot. Republicans want war. They want a reason to spend money on nuclear, and even the Democrats do. So every time you hear some screaming about nuclear crap going on, it's a taunt for more money for the military, for nuclear, and whatever else they want to play with. They already got a huge bucket to go play with, and that's kind of disgusting while the planet burns. So So that's a quick hit. North Korea. Every time North Korea conversation comes up is when military budgets are being discussed or talked about. All of a sudden, the scares have to come out, and people get nervous when you talk about this crap. When I call bullshit, so that's the call, bullshit. Um, Next one is Iran and their nuclear processing facilities. Now, according to all the agreements that the world has with each other, they're supposed to be allowed to do what they do, and they're doing it as honestly as I suppose can be expected under the circumstances. And America's just being an asshole. That's the bottom line to it because it threatens their nuclear industry. If you look at world uranium production, U.S. sits at about 3% internally. The rest of it we get from Canada and from South America and other places to get that yellow cake crap. So Middle East is playing with nuclear fuel now. Um, Weapons are just one step away from any type of nuclear fuel. So don't kid yourself on this. To those nuclear reactors, the commercial nuclear reactors, are bombs down the street. Um, so Iran's being played in our media big time because this is the largest industry on this planet. It has surface mines to mine tons of uranium or to make grams of uranium fuel. Um, that's just what they do. So Iran has started doing that, which means they've got a huge mine somewhere and a processing facility for that waste and that material. Those are $100 million investments. They're long-term investments. You don't make that short-term. You have a long-term plan for what that plant's going to produce fuel for. So Iran has a fuel plant they're building. I've seen it targeted towards commercial reactor fuel. So I know this is breaking up a little bit. I can see the swirl. I've got internet connections and they get worse when I start talking about this stuff. And I'm chilly sitting outside in the cool. So, again, I hope this is audible. That was Iran. Just a quick one, Iran. So Iran's trying to build fuel assemblies for something. And I've heard two different things now. Now, Russia is building nuclear powered ships. And I'm sure other people might be playing with this shit. It's spooky because it's dead tech. So Russia doesn't care. Russia built a commercial nuclear power generating ship to power the oil wells that they're running up in the North Sea. So they've got nuclear ships already. I don't know what their fuel supply chain is, but remember, you have to plan these out for decades. We're being played with Iran big time. And again, Iran comes up every time the nuke boys want more budget or they're afraid of losing some of their budget. Um, that's just how it is. Look at history over decades, not yesterday and today. Every time budget's coming up for the nuclear boys in the military, this noise begins in the media some short time before it. Korea might have a missile that could hit Hawaii, maybe, and nothing more unless they can launch it from a ship or someplace else and get it close enough to us. So yes, they're a threat because of the fallout. Say they did an air blast, it would have an East Coast fallout. But I think there'd be hell to pay if North Korea did that, and they friggin' know it. So, you can't hide. the planet's round. You know, there's no place to disappear to, really. So that was Iran. Um, Very little idea what Russia's doing in the nuclear space. You never do hear about it. China, we know, doing commercial nuclear reactors. Um, we got Saudi Arabia, a country whose people came to America to destroy the American way of life. Those boys were from Saudi Arabia. Those punk ass chicken shit motherfuckers were from Saudi Arabia. And yet that country paid no price, did nothing about it. They have radicalized through their oil wealth to keep people insecure and fighting each other instead of watching the money being stole from under their feet. So there's Saudi Arabia for you, and we're going to give these asshats a prince had a reporter murdered, and I know the reason that reporter was murdered was because he was probably following this nuclear bullshit with the Trump family. So Trump Jr., whatever the fuck their names are, those people have direct ties to the nuclear industry. Even Brexit was related to the nuclear industry. These asshats don't like the EU's take on nuclear waste and how friggin' deadly and dangerous it is. They want to play these games and make you think you're an idiot and don't know what they're doing. The reason America's so fucked up for nukes is because we don't want to make plans. We want to pretend, we want to tear everything down. Man, and if it ain't my God, it's nobody's God. Nobody can have anything. End times bullshit. So, hey, happy Sunday morning. It's a beautiful day here. Weather's been nice. Um, so that was just a little bit of Saudi Arabia. That shit has to be stopped. Saudi Arabia has no business with commercial nuclear weapons sitting around their country. Besides them being able to be blown up, and they like to blow shit up. God, they do. Each other, doesn't matter. They don't care. Well, they do care because their personal God's better than the next neighbor's personal God. So, all right. Quick touch on Saudi Arabia. France's nuclear is struggling big time. All their reactors are old and aging. They've got to be retired. They've got a huge industry to shut down. It's going to cost billions. So all those investors that have been making money off of this nuclear stuff, those are false profits, because the cleanup side of this stuff ends up being on the taxpayer's dime, not on those fake profiteers, goddamn Coke Industries wealth that's driving our politics. I mean, think about it. Coke Industries is paying millions of dollars to people that are teaching the planet's only 6,000 years old. They're spending millions of dollars on people spreading false rumors and idiocracy and lies. They're spending millions of dollars. These are your tax dollars. The Coke Industries is taxing the shit out of us to play their goddamn games with our politics. And it's not just the Cokes. They're just one of the largest funders of these games. So on the one side, you've got chemists, chemical engineers running a global corporation telling us that everything is states' rights and, oh, we get to pollute here. God, who listens to this stuff? Who buys this stuff? Who really thinks our planet is 6,000 years old? We've known better than that for decades and decades, and I'm sorry if that hurts people's feelings, but that is a goddamn fact of life. And the planet we ride on, this one we share, is the only one we've got. Yeah, there's others out there we're poking at, and that's way cool, but this one is the one we've got. So there's no Armageddon coming. There might be a disaster coming, and it'll be a natural disaster because we're nature. We know better than this stuff. I don't know where people's heads are. I know there's enough educated people out there to say, oh, um, um, you're wrong. Go learn some science. Go learn how our planet works, where the groceries on your store shelf come from, and how complicated that is. And you can't do it alone. You don't live alone. You're not all by yourself. There is something bigger than us, and that's them. So pay attention, folks. Don't get distracted. Have faith, because humanity's not a total suck idea, you know, but let's take care of it and each other. Uh, so, hey, I spoke a little bit faster. Where did I stop? I stopped with Saudi Arabia. So, meanwhile, these nuclear salesmen have been out and about in force. The media has said nothing about these asshats and clowns doing it. Can you imagine? Would you buy a nuclear reactor from a Trump? Think about it. Think about it. Would you want a Trump? Oh, yeah, this is a Trump reactor. This reactor, we get it's Trump use PhDs helped invent this reactor. We don't know what to do with any of it after we invented it, but hey, we're going to sell it to you. Uh, yeah, morning rant, nuclear rant. Got to wake up to pollution. Kids get it. Man, I hope they get it. I hope they friggin' get it. I hope they go challenge their teachers to teach them about the rest of the real world, how democracy works, how people voting together works, why the vote matters. Congress, I mean, the politicians have been watching this voting debacle for decades. All of them have. And they can't sit down and say, wait a minute, our people get to vote? We're going to fix this? No, no, they want to tear it down. They want to confuse it and muddle it and make it look like it doesn't work at all when it's the only thing that has worked. So find someone to vote for. If they are shallow, young earth, creationist, spieling fools or support those tribes, then we are in trouble. Those people need to either step aside or go get a better education. The Ken Hams of the world, uh, who gives them a stage? The flat earthers, I watch for comedy relief and disbelief, and it's like watching, middle school type conversations and antics from one side of the aisle. So, uh, hey, think about your neighbor. Maybe make a loaf of bread and drop one off someday. Pick up a bag of trash, take a bike ride, or a walk. The weather's turning here in the U.S. anyway, so I hope folks can enjoy it. Beware. Don't be square.